I know I sound like a broken record here, but it was another chaotic Thornton Township meeting. There's no doubt about it. Now, before we talk about how this meeting just went to a dramatic end, let's talk about the back and forth between the supervisors and Tiffany Henyard. Now, in this meeting, Trustee Jones and Trustee Gray were not present. So we had Trustee Carlisle, Trustee Gonzalez, and Tiffany Henyard. So obviously, they went back and forth on many things. As the meeting opened, one of the key points of contention evolved around the township bingo events. Trustees raised concerns about the township spending too much money on extravagant prizes for these games, questioning whether it's responsible use of funds, and actually if it's even legal at all. But rather than address those financial concerns directly, Tiffany Henyard shifted the focus, trying to frame bingo as something much bigger.
The prizes for bingo are being purchased by Thornton Township, and now there's a question as to whether each person receiving a gift over or a prize over $600 should fill out a 1099 form. And so we haven't received a final answer on that, and so I think it's important that until we get the final details, we pause on those things. And let's say, for instance, you know, we don't know the findings, but just ethically, we have to ask ourselves questions: should we be doing this? Yes, bingo is a great opportunity for seniors to come and to participate and have, you know, fun amongst their peers. However, there is a lot of money being spent on bingo, and what are we doing to improve our entitlement programs? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. And not only that, but seniors play a large part in the voters base. So bingo, us canceling bingo or pausing is not neglecting the seniors, and changing the rules is not disenfranchising the seniors as well. We're just taking a moment to stop to make sure that the rules and laws are being followed.
All right, yes. So as it relates to bingo, it's amazing how you guys all of a sudden want to stop something that has been going on since I've been the supervisor at Thornton Township.
She didn't hear a word of what she just said about the legality of it.
We don't think we can do it because it's gaming issues. So what did? We reached out to the gaming board, the revenue board, to make sure that we did not do what we supposed to.
It do change.
Which I announced this at the last board meeting, that before we started bingo, we reached out to them. We reached out across the street to South Holland, and we followed every protocol possible so that residents can have bingo. Because bingo is more than just prizes like they're trying to make it about. It's about love. It's about community. It's about unity. It's about everybody loving on each other throughout
It's about
the
them
township.
cheating
That's
them
what
taxes.
bingo's about. Y'all missing the point. It got nothing to do with prizes. Because guess what? Even though they didn't have prizes, they were still down here packed. It was packed. And y'all didn't come. And you would have saw that, and you would have heard from them. And then anybody down here that wanted to talk as related to bingo, because I invited the residents out, so just so you can see what I deal with when I'm fighting for things for you that you really love and enjoy doing.
We hear this all the time.
Before, y'all didn't have nothing like that. Nothing.
But let's pause here. Love, community, those are some words, but is it just a smokescreen? Henyard deflects and brush aside the real concerns about spending big prizes for these bingo events, as if the only issue trustees had was that they didn't want the seniors to have fun. But let's be clear, the trustees aren't against the seniors. They're questioning why tax dollars are being used for these extravagant prizes. Henyard, instead of addressing those spending issues, goes for the emotional appeal. It's all about love. This is a classic deflection. It's almost like she's saying, if you're against my spending, you must be against the community. No. The supervisor needs to understand that the community can love bingo without you splurging on high-value prizes. The trustees wanted a real conversations about ethics and accountability, but she turned it around into some kind of sentimental plea to avoid the hard facts. One of the biggest surprises of the meeting is the fact that the lawyer actually had something to say, and in fact, he disagreed. During the meeting, there was an exchange between Tiffany Henyard and the township's lawyer about this new event ordinance. The lawyer calmly explained that due to the new rules, events like Gospel Fest need to be reapproved. However, the supermayor wasn't having it and quickly dismissed the lawyer's guidance, what kind of shows how she handles lawyers. She doesn't listen to anybody.
It's my understanding these events are being presented pursuant to the new event ordinance that was approved.
Okay, so if we already approved it, we don't have to reapprove it, correct? If the event was approved on August 24th of 2023, we don't have to reapprove?
No. What I said was these events are being presented to the board in compliance with the new event ordinance. That's my understanding.
As though it's new? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the new event ordinance that was just put into place at one of the prior meetings within the past month or so.
Right, so, okay, just wanna make sure we're crystal clear so they understand and I understand in the crowd. So by this already being approved in the old, budget, it's safe to say it's already approved. I don't have to go back again before the board, correct?
Nope. Nope.
No, these matters are being brought before the board now to comply with the new event ordinance.
Right.
Because these are events that are to be approved pursuant to the new event ordinance.
Right, but only time that you have to go.
Hold on, let me hear what, I want to hear what
forward
it's
is when
just
you
bad
put in
advice.
something new, and then whatever from that day moving forward is what you go from. So if this was already approved prior to, it should not be affected by what's new. It was already approved. Like I said,
Lawyer, do your job.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but I disagree.
Thank
The
you.
event ordinance takes
Thank you.
precedent.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
These events have to be approved pursuant to the event ordinance.
Okay.
She
so
mad.
I disagree with what the lawyer is saying.
Oh, you got your law degree.
Our township's lawyer is just laying down some facts, explaining that because of a new ordinance, previously approved events like Gospel Fest need to be reapproved. And what does Henyard do? She just dismisses the lawyer's advice entirely. She disagrees, as if these ordinances can just be shrugged off. The lawyer tries to explain that you have to follow the new rules, but Henyard insists you can't go backwards. But here's the thing, the law is the law. It's not about going backwards. It's about following procedures. And the thing is, Henyard just disregards any legal advice in a public meeting. So that shows that she probably ignores legal advice in private. It's about defiance. It's about her leadership style. It's reckless. If you don't follow the lawyer's counsel, what are you following? Another shocking revelation is Henyard admitting that a $3 million lawsuit was nearly lost by default because the township didn't have legal representation in court.
So are you guys going to make sure we got counsel? We gonna have coverage?
Don't
what
answer.
we doing so that we can go in court and
Right,
get
but
this
she can shut them
removed
down.
for the
She don't
$3
answer
million
them.
that we owe this individual because we didn't have counsel. So are we gonna move forward with that or are we not? What we doing?
There's counsel here from LDS who can probably answer some questions that the board may have.
All right, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Supervisor, members of the board. There has not been a default judgment entered in this matter. The court has given the township and the individual defendant until October 31st to file a responsive pleading, either an answer or a motion to dismiss. So there is no default at this time.
So
what she said was wrong.
Paperwork he got.
That matter was.
She said they lose him by
last week, but
default.
The judge put it over until the October 31st date.
Okay, so it got extended basically. So we got a default for 3 million because I know I saw that because my team showed it to me, and now it's extended for the day. Okay,
That's correct.
well, there y'all answer. So what we gonna do now?
So,
No, go ahead.
no, you go ahead, Chris.
You're
So
too
I guess
nice.
This kind of goes back to my previous question. So have you been working on this case already?
No, I have not, sir.
Okay. So that's because there was no representation?
That's because we have not been retained.
What else is new? And Henyard scrambled to explain why this critical issue was allowed to fall through the cracks. This is an admission that there's some serious mismanagement under her leadership. So again, the township didn't have legal counsel and no one showed up for a $3 million lawsuit. Henyard throws this bombshell out there like it's no big deal, but let's slow it down. This is $3 million of taxpayer money on the line, and the township didn't even show up to defend itself. Henyard tries to deflect, placing the blame on trustees for not securing legal representation. But here's the thing. She's the supervisor. Isn't her job to ensure that her township is protected from legal disasters like this? There is no excuses for this. And the reason why this lawsuit is even filed in the first place is because of an employee that wanted to contact OSHA due to the food pantry boxes being littered with vermin, mice. And apparently, Keith Price, the one that's responsible for these food pantries, tried to threaten him, tried to intimidate him, and he decided to sue. The fact that this $3 million case was almost lost by default because of inaction is beyond irresponsible. How is she still defending this mess? Trustee Carlisle was aggressive against Tiffany Henyard. They were going back and forth throughout the entire meeting. She exposes details about Henyard's frequent taxpayer fund trips where the township money was allegedly used to promote Henyard's brand. She describes about how these trips were more focused on self-promotion than serving the township. leading to some.
And I welcome any investigation about any expenditure in Thornton Township's finances. I have no problem sitting down and talking to an investigator about any of the purchases I made on behalf of Thornton Township for Supervisor Henyard and the multiple trips I booked for her, the hotel suites, the flights, the expensive dinners, the different amenities that she received that were provided to her on behalf of Thornton Township residents.
Wow.
Yes, as she stated, I was her assistant, so I was on many of those trips. I was told by her to make sure she had 2 trips booked a month, nothing under 3 or 4 days. And I think that anybody who wants to know, any investigator who asks any questions should have any information about any trip, including but not limited to the shirts, the paraphernalia and flyers, and the promotional items that have been paid for with her face and her image on it by Thornton Township, details about her transportation, the travel plans, information about her security that she demanded to go with her everywhere she went. I welcome any investigation into any expenditure involving Tiffany Henyard and Keith Freeman's credit card. And I'm sure that Keith Freeman will to answer any questions about this too, because again, we're open to being honest and transparent about anything that we've done for Thornton Township.
Henyard had trips booked on the township's dime, not once, but twice a month. And each of these trips lasted several days. This isn't a weekend conference we're talking about. This is a tax-funded luxury. And the crazy part is that these trips were filled with branded materials, shirts, paraphernalia, all with Henyard's big face on them. It's almost as if her public service role became a vehicle for self-promotion. It makes you wonder, was this travel for township business or a PR campaign for her personal brand? The level of self-interest here is staggering, and no amount of deflection can hide it. At multiple points during the meeting, Henyard continued to deflect any criticism by blaming the previous administration for the township's current challenges. This is a tactic that she uses often. Whenever the trustees bring up concerns about financial mismanagement or poor decision-making, Henyard was quick to remind everyone about the state of the township before she took office. Obviously, that didn't sit well with the room.
Township. Let me remind you, here in Thornton Township, Frank Zuccarelli had this seat for 30 years, 29 to be exact. His name was on everything. You guys know, whoever the leader is, your name goes in place of their name. If you're the mayor, the supervisor, your name is the one that everyone sees for that town or city. So that's what I mean about hate and jealousy. Because nobody cared before when it was Frank. Did y'all make any noise? Did y'all say let's remove this person's name? Y'all made a fake ordinance to make it like y'all fake in charge. Y'all are not in charge of anything. So please stop with the antics when we come here to these board meetings. I am the leader for Thornton Township. I am the supervisor of Thornton Township. And I'm going to make sure y'all give me my respect and stop playing the game. Because all these games need to stop. When I came to Thornton Township, and that's my personal place, I'm saying for this, so you can hear y'all run it back. When I came to Thornton Township, y'all had a $4.5 million deficit when I got here. $4.5 million deficit. Since me taking over, you have a surplus of $9.8 million today. Today. Surplus. Talk about that. Y'all need to report the facts. I'm tired of that. So don't get back and everybody can just stop sitting here just saying things that ain't true.
Like I said, it's blame the last administration. That's the card she continuously pull. Henyard tries to shift focus away from her questionable decisions by reminding everyone about the financial mess she claims to inherit. We don't have a lot of proof that that's actually true. She could throw around the deficit numbers and that's all good, but it doesn't erase the fact that under her watch, there's been complete chaos. Again, remember, it's a $3 million lawsuit that's nearly lost. This isn't about fixing the past. It's about the accountability right now in her administration. The trustees, concerned about the fiscal responsibility, repeatedly tried to get Henyard to discuss the township's spending practices. Yet, instead of engaging in that conversation, Henyard accused them of trying to stop progress. This accusation was her way of brushing aside valid concerns and shifting the narrative to make it seem like the trustees were standing in the way of success.
You guys always want to stop progress. That's the problem I got.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all want to stop things that's actually a huge success, because I don't see none of y'all bringing in numbers like that. And y'all been here longer than me. So when I came, we created
Brooke,
this
about to
for our
get
residents, and it's been a huge
Don't tell me what to
success.
do on
Y'all
my
over
life. Go to
500
another
people.
life.
They come here, they get a cooked meal that they enjoy. Little do y'all know, some of the meals meals are people only meal for the day, but yet you want to stop bingo because you think it's such.
If you want to hear her
you think
rants,
it's
you go
all
on
about
somebody
price.
else's live.
It's more than
Bruce.
that. And Carmen knows that because she was down with her taking it. So was Jerry Jones and Chris. You come for the photo op, so I don't know. But all I'm saying is that I just appreciate if you guys will take a step back, look in the mirror, and say, hey, I got to do what's right for the people. And make sure that the people benefit from bingo like they have always done and not change that all of a sudden because, again, it's election time.
This is just classic Tiffany Henyard. When the trustees raise legitimate concerns, whether the township funds are being spent responsibly, Henyard spins it into an attack on progress. She frames it like the trustees don't want to support the community, but the trustees are asking for financial responsibility. But instead of addressing that head on, Henyard accuses them of stopping progress. This tactic isn't just frustrating, it's manipulative. By turning every critique into an attack on progress, she avoids answering the real questions. It's not about stopping bingo. It's not about stopping Gospel Fest. It's about whether the township is running these events within legal and ethical standards. As the meeting progressed, the criticism of Henyard continues. She always pulls out this deflection tactic, blaming it all on the upcoming election. Instead of addressing the trustees' concerns, Henyard suggests that all this scrutiny is all politically motivated, calling herself the victim of this election year smear campaign.
Because, again, it's election time, so we got to stop anything going great in Thornton Township. Because remember, when I got here, y'all numbers was down. When I got here, all the numbers went up due to what? Being productive, making sure that we're available for the people. That's what it's all about.
Deflecting everything as political sabotage is lazy and is insulting to the people who generally want accountability from their elected officials. Instead of taking ownership, she uses this election as a shield, hoping people won't see through the fog. And now let's talk about how the meeting ended. It was through public comments, and Paul Roberts, a man that frequently speaks at these events, had this to say. And I want to show you exactly what she said. I want you to put in the comments below, what do you think? Was this worth stopping the meeting for, in terms of, was it something so outrageous that Henyard had to have basically 3 of her goons kind of walk up to him and basically try to intimidate him while he's speaking at the podium?
Don't act the same way.
He's got some gangsters in here tonight.
Good evening, neighbors, trustees, and especially supervisors. I paid attention to our supervisor for a year now, and regret that she does not pay much attention to the people she is supposed to serve.
They weren't respectful.
Instead, she insists that she is about loving on people, while calling all those who criticize her haters wearing devil's horns.
Actually,
She stubbornly believes that she is still in control of the board meetings both here and in Dalton. She continues to campaign at our expense for another item in both governments, when her constituents' biggest question is how come she is still in office. We have 7 more months to endure before a new supervisor is inaugurated. So I asked the supervisor, using the words of Trustee Jones, is it too late for you to do the right thing for the people? The purpose of my comment this evening is to ask the supervisor to work with the trustees reasonably. Reason is the ability God gave humans to make us superior to the rest of the animals. Elephants and whales have a much better sense of hearing than a human, but it's ridiculous trying to ask an elephant or a whale about the best way to distribute 9 million tax dollars between 155,000 people. A dog has a much better sense of smell than a human. But if it poops inside your house, you don't expect the dog to apologize to you, nor do you expect the dog to respond to constructive criticism. By definition, an animal does not respond to reason. The only way that humans can interact with them are to feed the animal, pet the animal, or give it a whack in the snout. This is my way of saying that the residents of Thornton Township can no longer afford the feeding and petting of the supervisor. Does the supervisor have an alternative to getting a whack in the snout? Not if she can bring out that like an
Security! Security, you need to do something. You gonna sit up here and let him intimidate this man in public comment? You need to do something, security. You need to do something. You need to do something. You need to get them out of here. You bogus as hell. You sit here, you gonna let him intimidate this man? You gonna let him physically intimidate him?
Now, the first thing I would say is the security was terrible. It's as if it was on purpose. They didn't try to stop things. Things could have went out of hand very quickly, and the security was god awful. I don't see how they were able to secure anything. I mean, this one dude, Green, he looked out of it. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was on something. The fact that he had no sense of urgency when there's a potential for a violent confrontation can happen, and he had no ability to secure the room. He had no ability to de-escalate anything. Also, during the meeting, when people called things out, heckled, if you want to call it that way, Henyard was quick to stop it if it was against her. But someone heckled Trustee Carlisle, and she didn't stop it at all.
About that. That's not the time or place, but for her to sit here and say that, I wasn't her assistant, and why was I spending money on behalf? And excuse me,
Shut up, These are people. These are people.
Security.
She worked for the township?
So this was another crazy township meeting. At this point, this is par for the course. There's nothing much that's seriously changing here. Obviously, the trustees are fighting back. They're going back and forth with Supervisor Henyard. But I do believe that she does have some level of support. Maybe, and because I was surprised, I didn't see a lot of people at this meeting compared to meetings in the past. I know it was raining a lot in that area, but at the same time, there were people there. And I know a lot of people say it's paid actors. I think, especially when I saw that footage of her last bingo event, there are people who are supporting Tiffany Henyard as a supervisor. That's something that the other trustees and the people who want to be supervisor next year, they're going to have to work themselves out and try to figure out what's going on with that, because I think she does have a contingent of supporters that will vote for her. Maybe people who are big fans of that big bingo. It's going to be another contentious meeting, and I'm sure the next meeting will be just as contentious. Hopefully they have better security, because that was downright embarrassing and dangerous when you have people who are not, when you have security guards that cannot de-escalate situations, because that could have went really, really crazy. But let me know what you guys think about this meeting in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.